Welcome to JamYaps Media, or Jam for short, where I cover all of the topics that I'm passionate about, which ranges from music to sport to movies and video games. I recently spoke with singer-songwriter Hayley Jensen about being a country girl at heart living in the big city and her journey throughout music. Let's stop messing about though and get to my interview with Hayley. Firstly, how does a girl from Sydney find herself playing and recording country music?
That's a bloody good question. I grew up, in the country. I was born in Albury, Wodonga, and grew up on a property just outside of Canberra, near Bungendore. And, grew up kind of riding horses and listening to, my parents' favourite music, which was always, things like Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, the kind of old school country rock sort of stylings. And I guess it just kind of got into my blood. And so I've done lots of different styles of music over the years and tried different things. But whenever I sit down myself to write, it's just what comes out. This is kind of who I am. So, some people will say it's straight out country. Other people will go, I think it's a bit more singer-songwriter. For me, labels are a bit, they're just so that people can categorise things. And, I just love to make music that tells stories, and I guess that resonates with the country music fans and listeners. So, it's been an interesting journey, sort of finding my way back to the country music world.
And how do people in the city react when you tell them that you write sort of country style music?
You know what? I thought that people would cringe and not have, an overall. I guess, depending on the type of country music, it certainly had a bit of a stigma attached to it in the past. I think there's a lot of artists these days. There's a lot of crossover stuff coming through. So we've got, Keith Urban and others that are kind of doing this music that sort of sits somewhere in between. And I guess that's kind of where my stuff sits too, somewhere in between the kind of singer-songwriter, contemporary artist to, with pop kind of influences with country. So I think it's opened up and changed people's perceptions a bit. And as I was saying, I thought people would sort of cringe, but in actual fact, what I've found is that there are a lot more closet country music fans out there than anyone would expect. So most of the time, people, when they say, what sort of music do you do? And I say, I'm country. They're like, I love country music. So I don't know if it's just who I'm hanging around with or what, but it's I've been surprised at how positive the response has been to my kind of defining style.
And you've said previously your dad was your biggest supporter. Did he influence your passion for country music?
Look, I think my dad had just amazing taste in music, and as I say, he loved the Eagles, and he loved, I guess, a lot of that kind of old school country rock that we might just sort of say that's just kind of rock or what have you. But as you listen to it now, you go, there's definitely kind of country flavouring to that sound, and so I guess that really did influence me. And also, he was just a big fan of my voice and the using my voice, and I guess there's some kind of unique things about the tone in my voice that kind of lend itself a bit more to that country music styling. So he was a big fan, and I feel like he's still cheering me on in heaven. So it's a good feeling.
And because your songs are so personal, have you written more songs about him since his passing?
I have actually. I was lucky enough to go over to Nashville at the end of last year and do some songwriting. And one of my really good friends over there, Phil Barton, he's kind of a world-class songwriter now. He was he's an Aussie and he moved over there a few years ago, and he's just been, writing some amazing hits with some of the number one acts over there, and I was lucky enough to steal some of his time, and we wrote a beautiful song called You're With Me, which will be on my next record, and yeah, it's just a hugely personal and special song to me. It really captures how I feel about him, and and I think it will continue to influence my writing. I think when you lose someone so special to you, you get a whole new perspective on life. What things that you thought were constant, or it makes you challenge your world and your priorities and all that sort of stuff. So I think whether directly or indirectly, losing him will absolutely influence my writing from now on.
And was that song difficult to write because it was so close to you?
Yeah, it was, I knew that there was a song brewing that I wanted to write, to him or for him, but I was so nervous about, I guess, going there, because you open up all of those emotions, and you know that you're going to have to be so vulnerable once you do go there, and because that's just the way that I write all of my songs. I go head first, and I think that's the best way to write, and the best songs are kind of written from real emotion and real experiences, and when people are being authentic and honest. So for me, I guess I trusted my friend Phil as another songwriter to be sensitive to where I was in that, and kind of saved up all my kind of thoughts and ideas around it for that special songwriting trip to Nashville, because I knew that I could trust the other person I was writing with. And often I write on my own, but it was actually really nice to write this one with someone, and sort of, lovely.
And do you think that really heartfelt writing process is why the EP has connected with so many people on different levels?
Yeah, I do. I think, I've always tried to be very honest in my writing and what have you, but I think this EP in particular, I really did peel back the layers, and I really did go to those places that I guess I'd been probably nervous to go to before as a younger writer, I guess, of being so honest and worrying about what people might think. On the EP, that I'm dealing with some pretty contentious, very confronting issues and that are impacting our society. And some people want to tackle those things head on, and other people want to kind of hide away and run from it. And I guess, especially sort of in the country market, I kind of was a little concerned that perhaps people were a bit more conservative in their attitudes and wouldn't be as open to kind of tackling, the issues of domestic violence and abuse and what have you head on. But I've been so overwhelmed with the amount of support and that I've received, and both from kind of the media, the radio stations, the music video channel, country music channel, as well as the listeners, and who have written me personal messages saying how moved they were, and whether it's a relationship that they are in, or whether they know someone that's been in a relationship like that, or even people that have felt like they've been trapped in a job that they hate, or some other situation in their life. I've really found that people have kind of related to those songs, and also that's one spectrum. Like my EP, past tense and present piece, has got kind of it's the scales of good and bad on it, I guess, and even some of the more positive songs like I'll Always Love You. I'm actually singing that as a special song for somebody that contacted me as they walked down the aisle for their wedding this weekend, and so that's just as beautiful when people are connecting with, the emotions that are in those uplifting and positive songs. So, as I say, I feel like I'm just sort of hit my stride, and I'm just beginning to really find my home in music, even though I've been doing this for probably 13 years professionally. And it's been awesome trying and doing different things. And I was in an alternative rock band, and I was in a, dance rock kind of band, and all sorts of different incarnations of music. But this just really feels like home to me.
And the EP hit the top of the charts on iTunes. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, it was truly, I couldn't believe it, really. It was just like a dream come true. For me, after kind of not releasing, my last album I released in 2007 was called Note to Self. My last sort of solo album. I've released other things with bands and what have you in between, but, so to just see that there's still so much support, and that support just growing, and following growing, and people really getting behind my songs and music and me as an artist. I guess that's all you can wish for, and hope that that translation of people connecting with your songs in an emotional way will lead them to actually going and purchasing your products as well. Because it's one thing to listen on YouTube and Spotify or what have you, and it's another thing for people to actually go and I'm going to buy that product and invest in it because I believe in the artist or what have you. So especially these days, it's such a challenge with so many different ways people can access. It's great because people can hear you in so many different platforms, but there's also that converting, like somebody liking your music and loving to just listen to it, to actually parting with their hard-earned cash over it. So for the day that it was released, for it to shoot straight to number one on the iTunes charts just showed me that I have some really amazing, passionate, loyal supporters, and it showed me that I'm, I guess, heading in the right direction with what I'm doing musically. And I can't wait to get out and perform live, because there's sort of one thing of, recording music and that sort of thing, but for me, that connection with my audience and listeners and people that love music is really that's just such a precious and special thing for me. That's kind of like the icing on top of everything, and that's really why I do it, for that connection. So I can't wait to get out on the road.
I was just going to say the next step in converting people is to get them to come to a live show, which you have in Newtown in April. How are you feeling ahead of that, and what can people expect from that show?
Yeah, look, I can't wait for this show. It'll be my first. I did a single release show for young youth in November at the Basement, which was just awesome, and we had such a great turnout, and it was just such a beautiful atmosphere in the room, and I'm hoping to just sort of recreate that feeling, I guess. That's what I love doing, is putting on intimate shows with there's one thing to be said for doing big stadium and massive events and things like that, and they've got their own incredible things associated with it. That feels amazing, singing out to thousands of people, but when you can actually look off the stage and see someone singing along with your words and what have you, and that's just the ultimate. So that's I guess the atmosphere that I try to create in my shows. And so the show at the Lead Belly will be exactly that. It's like there's opportunity for dinner and show, or just coming to watch the show. And it's a gorgeous music venue to play in. I've played in it in its previous incarnation as the Vanguard a number of times, and the sound equipment is amazing. The venue itself is just set up. It's purely for music, and I love that. And yeah, everything about it, the food, everything is just the atmosphere of the place is awesome. And so I'll have my full band there, and we'll be doing, all the songs off the EP, plus some of my old album, Note to Self, and also a couple of cover songs in there too that I love to put my own twist on, an interpretation too. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As I say, performing live for me is kind of where it's at. I love recording and writing and that sort of thing, but having that face-to-face connection with music listeners and lovers and supporters is, for me, the absolute pinnacle.
Wonderful. That's all I'll need. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck with the show.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks very much for your time.
Not a problem. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
I hope everyone enjoyed listening to my conversation with Hayley. If you enjoyed this interview, please subscribe to the channel, bookmark my website, jammyapsmedia.com, and support over on patreon.com/jammyapsmedia so that I can continue to bring you more interviews like this in the future. Thanks.